Hey, what's up? It's Jordan, the real trans guy. I am back with my fourth video installment. I am here today to talk about the effects of testosterone through year 1 and year 2. I am currently 1.5 years as of tomorrow on testosterone. My T birthday is actually my mommy's birthday, 7/13 of 2016. Well, that's not her birthday year, but let's just pretend. She's very young. She looks great for her age. But anyway, first thing that I noticed, first shot, I don't know if it's placebo or if it is chemical because of the hormones, but the emotional change, you're a little excited, you're a little, you got that energy, and it's a good positive energy for most people. That happened to me. Okay, let me just preface the whole thing. Disclaimer, whatever I tell you is what happened to me. So I'm not saying it's typical or atypical for anybody, you know what I mean? Though I'm not generalizing, I'm just going to tell you what happened to me. And then, take it from there, and you can balance that against other people's statistics and whatnot. And then I noticed immediately, not necessarily that there was hair growth, but that the hair that I already had was getting darker. I am Italian, so I did get lucky in the sense that, and air quotes, because there are a lot of trans guys who are very interested in hair growth. And they want it fast, and they want a lot of it, and so on and so forth. And so I was lucky in the sense that I got that rather quickly. One of the things that can happen, and that did happen to me, unfortunately, was you start to stink. You're gonna, you get the boy stank all over you. And so, it's because of the hormones, naturally. Things are changing, and just like going through, 14-year-old male puberty. So there's going to be some stank there. You're not going to smell necessarily the same as you did before. This goes for trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning, everyone. This goes for things below the belt. Okay? So, you're gonna be a little surprised at that, and that may or may not upset you, because you're like, what the fuck? I wanted all these great changes, and all that's happening is that my junk stinks. But there are ways to combat that. You need to stay on top of it with, baby powder and things like that. There are a lot of, and listen, and if you're a chubby trans guy, which I was at the time, I have since lost some weight, and we'll talk about that as I go along, but, you're going to deal with chafing and so on and so forth, but there is this stuff that I found that, not everybody can afford it, but I'm still on just my first tube of it. It's called Fresh Balls by Fresh Body, and I am in no way endorsing this or getting paid to tell you about this. I'm just reviewing it because I thought it was really good. I wanted something that sounded masculine, naturally, because we are at the beginning and always, dysphoric, and anything that, even if it's not truly for men, if it says it in our brains, we want to give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. Whether we want to admit it or not, that's the way we are. And so, there's that. One good thing I would suggest for anybody who's into the facial hair thing, like I am, get yourself a little beard brush, and you could just exfoliate just by doing this. The constant shaving thing is kind of a myth. You shave once or twice, it does grow in, a little bit thicker, and it can go in a little bit darker, but not as much, not so much to the point where you want to be shaving all the time, because then you're going to have that baby face, and it's going to cause you more dysphoria. It's not worth it in the long run if you're transgender versus, you know, being a cis guy, and it's just a little bit harder for you to grow facial hair. Going back to the facial hair of within the first year. So I am essentially between year 1 and 2. I have shaved my face twice. And it is now coming in again, you know, fairly full. And I didn't get any sideburn action until probably like 8 months. Which was really frustrating because I just had, you know, this little Amish thing going on over here. My voice started to change pretty quickly, and it's still changing. It's not done. I can't sing. I used to be able to sing high notes, you know, and I can't sing anymore. It's very, I lose my voice, and then it just goes away, you know. I'm not even going to attempt it, but anyway, yeah, that's awful. I don't know what happened there. Fat distribution. So, when I started testosterone, my height was 5'3", 5'3.5"-ish, and I weighed like 200 and, oh my god, pounds. 230 something, almost 240 pounds, maybe 250. And I was very overweight. And I was scared because they tell you when you take testosterone, when you start testosterone, you need to be weary. I mean, this is really for health purposes. Because, you know, and that's a whole other video we're going to get into about gender norms and expectations in men and women and, you know, weight, but whatever. Because it is typically in society more acceptable to be overweight if you're a man. But again, totally different video, not getting into that now. I was overweight when I started testosterone, and I kept increasing a little bit, and I was like, holy fucking shit, what's going to happen? I'm going to be gigantic. I'm going to be unhealthy, my cholesterol is going to go through the roof, and then they're going to take me off testosterone. Because that's one of the things that you worry about. They tell you to watch your cholesterol and your blood pressure. Mind you, I already was on and still am on blood pressure medication for blood pressure reasons. Had nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with transgender. So, all of that I had to keep in mind. And so I was gaining weight, and all of a sudden around the 6-month mark, I just lost my appetite for some reason. And I attribute that to a lot of things. I attribute that to maybe some of the changes of the testosterone, but I changed medications, psych medications. I changed to Prozac, and Prozac is known for lowering your appetite. And so that could have been part of it. But neither here nor there, whatever the reason was, I wound up losing a ton of weight. And now I'm down to 168. So that's really good. Not only has the weight come off, but it has redistributed. Lost a lot of upper body weight, obviously. I had my top surgery in September, so that was a little bit, but it wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be, even though I was blessed, quote unquote. And I noticed that my hips shrank, and my quad muscles, poof! You know, I became like the Hulk in my quads, and my shoulders broadened a little bit, and my hips narrowed, and I was able to put on pants that I was never able to get over my hips before. Like my waist, if I was able to get them over my hips, I would have been able to close them over my waist, but I was never before able to get them over my hips, and now I was. And so, where before I couldn't even get like a 38 or a 40 over my hips, now I'm on a 33 that just literally are constantly falling off of me. So, and that's just because of the narrowing of the hips, which goes back to the weight distribution, the fat going to different parts of the body. You know what I mean? It'll go to the belly, so that might be something that if you're concerned about, you know what I mean, you watch your core, and you want to change your eating habits to try to be the healthiest that you can be, because obviously if you're going to transition, you want to do it probably for the rest of your life. And you don't want to get pulled off testosterone, so you have to try to maintain a healthy weight so you can stay on the T. What other changes? Oh yeah, then there's the big one. No pun intended. Or pun intended, maybe, I don't know, however you want. People are always questioning, well, what's going to happen to me below the belt? Everybody's different, so I can't speak for an entire population of trans guys. But I will say, for me, I noticed changes right away. I noticed growth right away. I noticed the way I experienced pleasure changed. It was different. It's not the same. And listen, everybody is entitled to their own whatever. I mean, you can label yourself however you want. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Me, personally, I don't subscribe to the, and it's because I'm dysphoric. I don't subscribe to the some men have vaginas thing. I don't do it. I can't. It's not because, you know, I have any big political agenda, or I just can't do it. So, to me, if I was going to describe that, that would be my peen. And we will get into that in the next segment.